Brilliant.
Imagine if I had based it on Lionel Blair. Or maybe there should be a biopic of Lionel Blair. There's something missing. Maybe I'm the man to play Lionel.
Blair, the biopic.
I really want it proper, okay?
I watched Paul Dood this morning, and it's I loved it to bits. Had a really good time with it. So congratulations on the South by pickup. I'm really interested in, first of all, not where the actual film came from, but where the idea behind Paul Dood came from. How did you suddenly get this genesis to write about this guy?
Matt White, who wrote it originally, he sent it to me about, it was 2010, I think. We were working on a couple of things, and there was something about this character and project that we just kept coming back to. And it was a sort of more kind of traditional revenge story about a high school kid that gets bullied and stays in the town and acts his revenge on his bullies. So in developing that, around that time, there were a lot of big pop stars, sort of Britain's Got Talent type sort of things. They've always been there, those competitions, but they seem to be dominating definitely the music industry and television. They were very popular and successful. So there was something about that was current. And, 10 years later, that's still a big platform.
You were terrible. You were horrible. You were out of tune. You were singing the wrong words.
Leah.
You were really bad. Hate what you're wearing. Horrible, horrible, horrible. You ruined it. You were bad. You were the worst. You were out of tune.
And then all of the other characters in our development in our writers' rooms, I kind of approached it personally as if each of those characters, if they were a real person, what would their social media look like and how would they want the world to see? And that was my sort of starting point. So it's all very heightened. It's all a bit extreme, it's a bit silly in places. And that was the starting point.
How did you decide on Tom? And then Tom, once you got involved, how did that kind of transform? Because I don't know if you based it on anyone. Don't take me the wrong way, but some of the time I kind of got a bit of a Lionel Blair feeling from him.
Lionel's magic stardust. They love it.
I love it. Yeah. Imagine if I had based it on Lionel Blair. Or maybe there should be a biopic of Lionel Blair. There's something missing. Maybe I'm the man to play Lionel.
Blair, the biopic.
Blair, the Blair years, not that Blair. This Blair. Well, I did. We did talk about this. Me and Nick did try some different things with the voice and things, and I did put him in a slightly. He's a little bit camper than I am. Not that much because I've got a touch of campiness. We did try a couple of things in some tests to do with him being even more camp. So that was, and we decided it was a little bit strong. But I think he has a lightness to him that's perhaps where you're getting your Blair reference. I see it as a big compliment because he is quite, he's like Ents as well, isn't he? Blair and Paul Dood. Yeah. They're very much in the light Ents field. So yeah.
So I mean, obviously, we're talking that it's kind of a bit campy, a bit funny in places. That balance, I mean, it goes down some really dark places, not just in terms of the comedy and kind of the gore, but also the kind of the journey that Paul goes on. Now, can you kind of tell me a little bit about that? How you tackled it and how you struck the right balance, because it's very complicated. It reminded me a little bit of another film that Tom, you were in as well, Sightseers. That kind of comedy and kind of dark violence and
darkness and light
things in there. Yeah. How did you kind of come up with the right balance you wanted to?
I love the character. I think Tom's done a fantastic job in making him very three-dimensional, and I think he is loving. He's led unintentionally a bit of a sheltered life, and he's a carer of his poorly mum. And I think in the story that we see, he's quite badly treated and bullied in a sense. And for me, that justified these Jobsworths and people that stop him and hurt him. It justified a bit of how he dispatches them, or he doesn't. They meet untimely ends, not necessarily at his hands. But I think finding the balance really is that the tone of the film. It's good that you've mentioned sightseers or something like that. They're not particularly nice people, and bad things happen to them. And I think that any bully that gets their comeuppance like that, I'm not saying that anyone should go and kill anyone, of course not. But I think in this film, and it being a very dark comedy, I think it works for us. I hope it works for us.
I mean, you got an A to Z of pretty much everyone on the comedy scene at the moment. How did you manage that? Was that intentional? Because you said it was kind of like a straight up revenge film to start with, no?
It was it's a really strange one. There was, Tom, we'd worked together before, and there was a few other people in it that I'd worked with, or various other members of the team had worked with. So we sort of reached out to them and begged and pitched. And then once we had a kind of core team of really talented actors, more and more people came. It was, I can't believe the cast that we got. I really can't. And I think all those years developing, and all the way back from Matt sending me the script in 2010, I would never have believed anyone who'd said that we would have ended up with the people we had. And the same for the crew on the other side of the camera. They were a very sort of hardworking, lovely bunch of people. And I think everyone involved in it was doing it. There was a low budget there, but I think everybody, it's a testament to them, really. It was a massive team effort.
And obviously having so much, sorry.
No, I was just going to say about how I think as an actor, I mean, I guess I'm talking about the stars really that came in. I don't consider myself a star in that same way, but you read it, you go, oh, this is a really fun part, and I think there's a lot of joy in the script, and Nick's managed to make it come across on screen. But if you're just sort of reading it and going, okay, I could enjoy this, and this could be really good fun, and I think that appeals as well. You're like, okay, it's only a few days, I get to die in a spectacular way and get my head caved in. I'd like to see that, and I'd like to have that. I'd like to have that memory, and so I think that's if you've got a good fun script, I think a lot of people will go, okay, yeah, it seems like it's good fun. You can attract quite high level people, I think.
It almost felt like they were all. It feels very much a film, but at the same time, it feels like you've got these different skits, these different sketches throughout, like specifically for specific people. Was that totally unintentional? Did you come across the cast afterwards? You didn't write anything specific for anyone?
It was all scripted, and then as people joined, we were able to write for them, essentially. Right. And with meetings, when we were allowed to meet then, then we would talk about the character, they would ask questions, and then it is a luxury, but we were able to, was able to go back to the script and kind of not rewrite the whole thing, but kind of rework it for them. And I'm a big fan of improvisation, and we did a lot of that on the actual shoot. So we would always do an on-script version and then an off-script version.
Right.
And I think you get the best out of definitely character actors and actors themselves, but when they have a bit of freedom to be the character, and then you kind of, you allow them that on set, and you just get this spontaneity, which is, I think there's quite a lot of that in the film.
And then the B-roll, the bloopers at the end of the film as well. The people have got to stay to the end because there's plenty of bloopers there at the end of the film now.
I really liked those bloopers. I only recently saw the film as well last week in its entirety. Those bloopers took me by surprise.
Yeah, it was quite funny. I mean, it was like Tom was the only one that's trying to be serious. The rest were kind of like trying to pull him off guard, no? Most of the time in the bloopers that were at the end.
Yeah, maybe. Obviously, I laughed a lot at all the turns. It was brilliant, and just everyone made me laugh all the time, which was quite problematic.
Uh-huh. And something else, another character that it doesn't speak at all, but he plays a prominent part, of course, is the sequin outfit that you have to wear. Where did you root that out from, and how did you decide on that?
We hired that from Lionel Blair. No,
he wanted that. He's not stopped calling. He wants it back.
I told him it's worn through in certain areas. Sorry, Lionel, you're not going to want that. No, I did actually get Jasmine, who was our costume designer, sort of adapted and made some of those. Absolutely fantastic. I did get chafing. I did get sequin chafe. Yeah, sequin chafe, because we're sort of, I was doing quite a lot of running around and action stuff, and my inner thighs started to get sequin chafe, which no one really wants to know about. But I just had to keep putting these sort of extra cloths down to stop the sequins rubbing, so it stopped it becoming a raw wound. Yeah, I mean that was a lot of fun to wear. What a fantastic outfits, and they were sort of influenced by that kind of glam rock side, weren't they, Nick? I mean, you did talk to me. When we first had one of our first chats, I was kind of, all right, okay, and you were going, yeah, sort of glam rock. I was going, okay, and then you actually see it and go, and particularly when you see it on screen, they look absolutely fantastic.
The Bowie one-liners are brilliant as well. Yeah, between the police, they're really funny.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of that. I'd looked at a lot of musicians and performers, Bowie especially, of course, and his various sort of outings as different characters. Michael Stipe and Marilyn Manson as well at a certain point, which I'm probably not allowed to say now. But yes, so there was a lot that went into that design and various films that sort of took influence. And Jasmine Ada Knox, she made that costume. And it is actually a motif in the film where sort of Paul's mum, Julie Dood, played by the wonderful June Watson, is actually making the costume. So it became a bit of a thing that he could, a symbol. I always saw Paul as like quite a sort of bad, am I allowed to swear? I don't know, quite a shit.
Yeah, no problem.
I'm going to swear loads now, sorry. He's a bit of a crappy superhero, really. He's a hero that I love and I support. But he's not exactly, he's not Superman or Spider-Man or anything like that. So he needed a costume. And actually, the way it was originally written was that Paul wore that costume all the way through the film. And when we sort of saw it, when I saw it, I thought it was so huge and sequin-esque that it was more of a reveal to sort of have it later and tease it. So he has a variety of costumes instead.
So I mean, we're running out of time. So I mean, obviously, I needed to speak about the gore and violence in the film. I mean, there's not a lot, but when we get it in loads and in bucket loads. Did you go as far as you wanted to go, or was there anything that you couldn't do, or anything that you wanted to do that you didn't get around to do? Was there anything that you said, no, we can't do that, it's going too far?
I actually personally reined a lot of it in. I mean, it was actually written on a page. It was a lot gorier, even the point in our edit. Some of that, I actually wanted to rein it in a little bit. I watched it again yesterday, and the steamroller scene.
Yeah, I was thinking about that.
There's only two. You don't really see as much as you could. I actually thought, well, maybe we should have gone further with that. But I do think there are moments of violence in the film. Some of them, if you walked in at the wrong point or a young person watched it, they might be offended by that. But I think they're all justified. And I do think there's a bit of a less is more approach. We're not throwing gallons and gallons of fake blood around.
Oh, no, yeah.
I suppose we could have done. But yeah, it's a bit nasty, isn't it, in places? I don't know what that stuff would really look like. I'm glad that I don't know. I've never seen it in real life. But yeah.
Brilliant. Well, we're out of time. Thanks so much for your time. Wish you the best of luck with the film when it screens next week. And I hope I'm not the only one that thinks you look like Lionel Blair in the reviews when they start coming out.
You are, Howard. You are.
Thanks, Howard.
All right. Thanks so much for your time, guys. All the very best. Take care.
Cheers. Bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, name that tune. Yes, the show where a lucky contestant could win more than £1,200 in cash. A star prize.